like this.
Have you ever gotten your hair done in an RV park before?
This is my first time getting my hair done in an RV park.
How did it make you feel?
Pretty special.
Welcome to Little House on the Highway.
What?
Today we have JJ Barrows visiting with us today. JJ's famous.
No, that's not true.
She will be. She comes from alignment.
Maybe.
Famousness. So our friend...
Our friend JJ came to visit. I'm JJ, y'all. I came to visit Little House on the Highway.
She from South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. You from North Carolina.
We all from Carolinas.
But we ain't cousins, because you know they make dozens.
We thought it'd be cool to interview one of our good friends, JJ Barrows, and introduce you guys to what it would be like to live in a van. So JJ, what kind of van did you live in?
I lived in a... I'm looking at you, right? We can keep going, just keep rolling.
Okay.
We can keep rolling. Life has bloopers. I lived in a 1984 Volkswagen van again for about 4 months.
Now, were you going to RV parks or parking on the road? What were you doing?
I was not. That would have been nice if I had had a stationary place to park every night. I was actually just trying to find different places all over San Diego that were either A, safe, or B, somewhere where someone wasn't going to call the cops on me, or C, that had a bathroom that was accessible early in the morning, because that's when I like to go.
Tell us a little bit more about that. Where is the best place to go to the bathroom early in the morning?
Segue.
Yeah, so the YMCA opens at 5:30 in the morning. You can find great membership rates at the YMCA. Also Starbucks. I knew where pretty much every Starbucks was in the general vicinity of La Jolla, which is where I mostly was, but anywhere up the coast of like San Diego County. So knowing where your Starbucks were and what time they opened, because some of them opened at 5, some of them opened at 5:30, some of them opened at 6. So Starbucks is always a safe bet. And then also I worked at a church at the time and I had the keys to the building, and so when push came to shove, I just...
Literally.
No pun intended.
I let myself in a little early.
So our fans are dying to know, and by fans I mean our mothers. Were there any close calls?
That's disgusting.
No, I want to know.
Yes.
Did you ever get really sick and then, oh dear?
There were times, there was at least twice that I can remember waking up and being like in a desperate panic to find a bathroom, because it was just like, this is gonna happen now. And just like having to book it to Starbucks, like book it, and then you get there and like you kind of have to wait, and it's just like you're kind of dying but trying not to give the vibe that you're dying. Yeah, we could go further in detail, but I'll leave it at that.
Trying to keep a straight face, like you're just there for
yeah,
coffee.
like you're just there for coffee, and you're just like,
I'm actually here to leave something.
yeah.
Bless your heart.
But Starbucks for sure was like my number one go-to, because they open super early.
So back to the YMCA, did you meet a lot of people that did what you did, like as far as like van life?
No, none. At least not in La Jolla.
You're 1 in a million.
Yeah, I was 1 in a million.
Yeah, and La Jolla is
in
like...
La Jolla is a lot of families at the YMCA, and there's a lot of older people. And I actually looked like the sketchy person, like tumbling out of the van at 5:30 in the morning, like, I need to get to the bathroom. So, and I had crashed there one night too, which you aren't supposed to do, and I found that out the hard way by them asking if I did crash there, and I was like, I mean, I just came early, which also was kind of true because I came earlier that day. But yeah, like if with people, especially in La Jolla, when a lot of people found out that I was living in the van, they were like, oh honey, what happened, or what's wrong, or how, you know, like a lot of people thought it was like I was down and out of my luck. Right. They couldn't fathom that it was possibly like a choice I had made. Yeah, to live in the van.
Which leads us to, why in the world would you want to live in a van?
Yeah, such a good question. Well, not to sound like a hipster, but before it was cool, before everyone everyone started doing it and hashtagging it, van life. It was last summer. I was working at I used to live in Portland. I moved down to San Diego to work at a church in La Jolla, and I was only going to do that for the summer. And then they asked me to stay longer, and I was house sitting all summer, which is the only way I could afford to live in San Diego. And so when they asked me to stay longer, in my mind it was like, well, there's no possible way that I could afford to live here. And originally I said no, but since I work at a church, I'll pray about it, was my answer.
Of course.
Yeah. So I prayed about it, which I decided I'm just never going to do again if I want to do something my way. And just felt challenged to actually stay in the area of San Diego, even though I wanted to kind of go back to Portland. But knowing that finances was going to be rough, and knowing I wanted to simplify as well, I kind of just like made a joke out of it, like, well, if I have to live in my car, I will, you know, because I knew I had to stay in San Diego, like to the degree of like, I'll do whatever it takes, you know, like to make it work, kind of a thing. But honestly, just taking into account the community I was in a really wealthy, really affluent community, and the kids that I worked with were kids that had a lot of materialistic goods and things, and I speak a life of simplicity and not needing a whole lot. And it was like, what would it look like for me to not only speak it but live it, you know? And so to specifically go into this community where, you know, these people have a lot of money, and I'm just like, I'm kind of just trusting Jesus here to provide. I just kind of was like, even though it started as a joke, as I prayed about it, I just felt led to like trust the Lord and actually like be willing to live in my car for a little bit. Not that I think everyone needs to do that. I don't think that like you have to like live in your car in order to simplify. But for me, the version of simplifying for me was no different than a really wealthy person downsizing from their mansion. It's just that I didn't have a mansion to downsize from. You know, I didn't downsize into a smaller house. I downsized into a car. And it was just, I knew it was just for a season of life. I knew it wasn't forever. I would do it again. But yeah, it was more or less wanting to take on what that was like. And I learned so much. I mean, the stuff that we take for granted, like even just peace of mind, or even like going to sleep at night and knowing that you're safe. Like mind blowing. That was a mind blowing concept to me. To like go to sleep at night and literally feel fear and literally be afraid. And I was like, people all over the world feel this all the time. Like, how lucky are we that we don't actually have to, you know? And so to actually, especially as a girl, because even the people that I knew that did van life, either they were dudes or they were couples. I rarely come across chicks by themselves living in a van. And so there was that extra sketchy factor, to me at least, of like, who's going to see me go in the van, who's going to see me as a girl going in by herself, you know? And there were times, you know, you'd hear noises outside and you're like, what was that? Like, you're just kind of always on guard. I mean, there was nights that I didn't sleep.
What was the scariest thing that happened while you were living in the van?
The scariest thing, one was having someone just all out bang on the door and seeing flashlights try and like come in through the thing. And I think it was either like a cop or a security guard. But as long as you're just laying dead still and don't make any noise, they can't like, you know, break into your van. So just remaining still. But the scariest thing that ever happened was I was parked in like an open field, like a dirt gravel like parking lot area over in like a business section of La Jolla, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I hear these voices coming from the distance. And it's an area of town where, because it's a business section, there's only activity during the work week and during the day. When the businesses aren't open, nothing's going on, you know? And so I hear these voices coming, and they're getting closer and they're getting closer, and they sound like young guys. And all of a sudden I hear one of them say, dude, check out that van. And I'm laying there and I'm like, no, don't check out the van. Please don't check out the van. And they get closer, and I hear one of the guys say, I wonder if the keys are in it. And I hear them messing with the doors, like seeing if the doors are open, and I can just feel them leaning up against the van, like trying to look in the windows. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, what do I do in this moment? I could probably scare the crap out of them if I just start screaming. I have my wasp spray beside me. That's my choice of self-defense was wasp spray. We're talking about the van.
Cash wants to be a part of the interview.
Yeah. So I'm laying there, and they're kind of like just feeling their way around it, like trying to look in. And then I hear one of the guys say something to the effect of, dude, quit, come on, man, let's go, leave it alone. And I'm like, oh, thank the Lord for the scaredy cat in the group. And you can hear the other guys making fun of him, like, "Oh man, you pansy, you little punk, you're afraid." And they're like, "Let's just go, let's just go." So I don't think they weren't, looking to hurt anybody. It sounded like young high school dudes just looking to get into trouble. Yeah. But it was a legitimately like super scary feeling to just like literally be in a moment of like, oh my gosh, what do I do right now? There's 3 guys leaned up against the van, like trying to figure out how to get in.
So was that most of your places that you chose to stay? Did you move every night, or did you find a place that you would stay for like a week?
I moved almost every night because A, it's illegal
In San Diego
to camp overnight. Yeah, on the street, you can't do it. And so if you stayed anywhere too long,
No.
I didn't want to let on the fact that I was like living in it. And at the time too, I honestly had no idea that it was something that people were starting to do. Like,
What's your current Facebook status?
it's complicated.
What does that mean?
Who are you complicated with?
I don't know. It's complicated.
Bearded man?
A couple of them have beards. Oh, we're going plural.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.